Crosschoke, a TFL podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Zach Anderson. Each week, I'm joined by the one and only Dakota Wrightan. We have combined experience in MMA, music, ministry, and food. We hope we add value to your day. Now, enjoy the show.
Yeah, it's the cross. Jesus went to that cross, and he took the stripes, and he took the nails, and he bore all those things for us. 3 days later, up from the grave, he arose. 3 days later, he rose as King of Kings and as the Lord of Lords.
My coffee has 15 shots in it.
Good morning, y'all.
What's up, brother?
What's up, Zach?
You never greet me like, what up, Zach?
Changing it up a little bit today.
What's up, Coco Bear?
What's up,
You're the hippo.
What's up, Eagle?
Not a lot, man. Just Vin Diesel over here. I'm Groot, bro. How you doing?
Highest paid voice actor in the MCU.
I think Rocket Raccoon. We talked about this before.
Right.
I think he made a ton in Endgame.
Second highest paid.
Is it still Vin Diesel when it's like Baby Groot?
Yeah.
Like, what does he do?
The world of technology and sound engineering will blow your mind.
I am Groot. I mean, I could do that.
I am Groot.
Ooh, that was a good. We're here at 5 a.m. again, huh?
Feels like 1 a.m. though.
What'd you say? 1 a.m.
It feels like 1 a.m.
Oh. All right, it's really not that early, but
No, it's 7:30.
But you know, the whole leap year thing, I could definitely tell it's brighter outside.
That whole extra day.
What if we're just priming ourselves for daylight savings, which is Saturday? We lose an hour, right? like it goes, instead of it being 7:28, it would be 8:28, right?
That's why we're doing a fun event at church on Sunday.
What?
We're doing the throwback day.
Oh, yeah, it's like 80s day.
Because kind of like, daylight savings, like we're kind of traveling in time.
Oh, is it really?
No.
There's no way that much thought went into this event.
It did cross my mind.
Cross choke?
But, yeah. But also, it's like, even though you're losing an hour, still come to church because it's going to be fun.
True.
Yeah.
Yes, we have to get up early anyways.
Yeah, but I have to get up, like, extra early.
Ah, that stinks.
You know what that really means, ultimately?
What?
I have to cut back my gaming time at night.
I know, that's like where the sacrifice comes in, bro. Last night we got off pretty early.
Yeah.
This episode of Crosschoke is brought to you by Next Generation Services. Next Generation Services is a great name and number to have saved in your phone. If you're looking for a trusted landscape company in Butte, then look no further. They offer many services ranging from decorative concrete curbing, tree trimming, snow removal, and all your landscaping needs. Always setting the standard for professionalism and always just one phone call away. Check them out at buttelandscapers.com. Welcome to Season 2, Episode 10 of Crosschoke, a TFL Ministry podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Zach Anderson. I'm joined by the ever bodacious Dakota. Is that even a word? I think I just made that up. Bodacious. Almost sounds like a bad word.
To me, it sounds like a good word.
Let's get to the bottom of this. Define bodacious.
Bodacious is an informal term. It means excellent, admirable, or attractive.
Oh, yeah.
That's you. Have I used that before?
Probably.
Bodacious. Oh, it's bodacious. That's what it's not. Bodacious. It must be from Montana. It's bodacious, boy.
Reminds me of Bill and Ted.
Excellent Adventure.
Yeah.
They're coming out with another one.
What?
Yeah. It's like they have two of them, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a third one coming out.
What?
Yeah, you don't know about that?
No.
I don't know when it's supposed to come out, but Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure 3 or something. Bro, this coffee is strong.
Okay, so I got Zach coffee this morning. I pull up to Florence Coffee. There's a little plug for them. And there's only one gal working the window. I didn't find this out, though, until I pulled up because I was like, sweet, there's only one car. I'm going to, like, get coffee and be on time and everything. And 20 minutes later, she gets me this caramel macchiato, and she's like, hey, so I think it comes with 4 shots. And I'm like, 4 shots and 20 ounces? All right, sounds good.
Yeah, make it 5.
Zach will love it.
Yeah, my first sip, I'm like, I'm awake. It's like drinking life.
So really excited for Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure now. Can't believe that's a thing.
What's it named, the third one? Is it just...
Bill and Ted 3.
Oh, okay. Dude, that's awesome. When is it supposed to come out?
This year.
Okay. Oh, did you see they postponed the new 007 movie?
No, because I don't follow that.
That was like big news.
I liked what was that one?
The VeggieTale movie?
Yeah. No, I can't remember the last 007 movie that I remember.
It's like, I think the last one was either Spectre.
Yep, didn't see that one.
Spectre, I don't know. This one's called No Time to Die. But anyways, it was supposed to come out like relatively soon, but they postponed it due to the old coronavirus.
No way.
Yeah, 7 months. It's coming out in November.
What bothers me is that this is such an epidemic, but I really feel like it's just media informed.
I'm so glad you brought this up because okay, we're not political,
I am.
but not on the podcast. But here goes nothing.
Not yet.
I saw a meme, that it was saying, okay, you have more chance if you are going to testify against the Clintons of dying than you would from the coronavirus. Anyways.
That's true.
But yeah, I think it's just super media driven because, okay, I
You
did
mean
some...
more chance of committing suicide.
Intentional. Unintentional suicide. But isn't it like it's a form of flu in a way? It's just like a souped up flu, isn't it?
I really don't know what it is.
I mean, of course I know like it's a big deal. Like people are getting it, people are really worried about it.
Well, once I found out the stats on like who's been affected and the death rates, I was pretty much like, don't care.
Dude, more people died from the flu like years back. Remember like when 18 something, like the flu was like
even
big
this
deal.
year.
Yeah.
The flu really is a big deal. Like,
right.
It affects old people and infants pretty bad. Coronavirus,
It just sounds really
Watch
scary.
me just eat my words and get sick with the coronavirus.
And if you're out there and have coronavirus, we're sorry. Hopefully
it's not a big deal.
We're just hating on the coronavirus. Just wash your hands.
What a stupid virus. People are out here dying.
All right, well, shall we open things up?
Sure.
2 items on our list. Number 1, Dakota, we are considering adjusting our upload schedule. So we would still record once every 2 weeks as we are doing now in Season 2, but upload half an episode every week. So the question becomes, do you want one longer episode every other week or one half episode every week?
When we say half episode, we mean normal length.
Yeah, but we would record the one episode.
Yeah.
And then like do part 1, part 2 of that episode. So like, do you want cross choke all the time or like one big punch every other week? Really, we're asking you if you're listening to this, let us know.
Yeah.
So like either, go to old tflministries.com/podcast.
We could start a poll
Ooh, there we go.
on the website.
Poll on the website, poll on Instagram, poll on Facebook, poll on Calculator. Did you see stories that are coming out for Calculator? I'm just kidding. That was a funny thing.
I
like
honestly
a year ago.
wouldn't have been surprised. I don't know if you saw that in my face reaction.
Like, really?
Because, okay, every app has stories now. There's this app I have called Ultimate Guitar Chords. It's a really corny name, but it's been around for forever. And they have, like, any song you could ever need chords to for music, they have it. They have stories, Zach.
Oh, Very cool. Dude, even YouTube has stories now. Have you seen that?
Yeah, but I don't have time to go to stories on every app.
It's like, just give me my YouTube video. Give me my Gordon Ramsay
And
video,
stop
man.
playing ads at the end of YouTube videos.
Oh, dude. Those ads are horrible. So then YouTube hits you with their ads, too. It's like, you want to try YouTube Red? No, I don't. You want to try YouTube Unlimited? No, it's free anyways. No, I don't want this extra YouTube stuff. But I got to say, one of the convenience, quality of life things, Google owns YouTube or whatever. But when you search Google, you could go to videos and it's YouTube videos. Like, I remember back when, you'd get some random video like Vimeo and those pop up. You're like, I don't know this,
Right.
At least there's you could trust YouTube a little bit for the ads at least.
Oh, for sure. Whenever I'm on my browser on a computer, you better believe I'm using ad blocker, though. I wish I had that on my phone.
Yeah.
But no YouTube ads for me, bro.
Did I ever share with you like the crazy time that Indian people took over my computer?
So like when they took over my Fortnite account.
Dude, similar, but I welcomed them to.
Oh,
and
what?
then it was dumb. Okay, so my computer wasn't really quite working, and I just searched online for like, I don't know what it was. It was when I was going to go do my internship overseas, and the guy. So I called, and it seemed legit, but these guys were scammers, dude. It was one of the biggest scams I've ever been caught in my life. So like, they took over my computer. You know what I mean? Like.
Oh yeah.
You
gave them permission.
Give them permission to. So I was like, oh sure, yeah, go ahead. So.
And what was your problem?
I don't really remember.
But it was like an Apple problem.
It was something like that, and these guys seemed, it was like legit thing, but it's like, oh, my name is Fred. I'm here to help you. I'm like, okay. But back then, I didn't have a lot of common sense,
Well, like a year ago, or?
Yeah, it was like a couple hours back. No, just kidding. So, anyways, this guy's supposed to do this stuff on my computer, and it ends up being this like super expensive thing, and it didn't fix what I wanted it to. And so I was furious and was like, I just got scammed, But so I got all my money back and fought him with the bank, and it was this big dramatic deal. But all that to say, I got souped up like security stuff, 0 ads, and my computer worked fine. He probably stole everything that I had, but no wonder my credit's horrible, huh? No, but just so. Anyways, that was kind of my fun scam story.
It's almost like banana split.
Hey. Number 2, Dakota.
Hey, we just wanted to say a huge thank you to our guest speaker on our last podcast, Alex Sexton. It was literally a blast recording that episode. We were only up till like 2:30 in the morning. No, I'm just kidding. We were up really late recording that, and it was super fun. I definitely want to have him back on the podcast sometime.
Yeah, we had great feedback too, and that was our fastest listened to episode that we've ever had.
Probably because he's so popular.
I guess, man, people like him.
He's so bodacious.
He is just a bodacious hunk of man.
He's excellent and handsome.
Yeah, and attractive.
Oh, that's what it was.
That was it.
I'm just throwing in other words.
He's great.
He's cool.
Yeah, so thank you, Alex, for being a part of Cross Choke and always a great supporter.
Cross Choke.
Your band was kind of a screamo band, wasn't it? Like
we had some songs with scream in them.
It was edgy.
No. Well, maybe it's for you, for your taste in music. We were pop punk.
What does that mean?
Like A Day to Remember.
Oh, so kind of lightweight rock.
I
really cracked myself up on that one. Also kind of rock.
No, not really. Pop punk is like, it's like
Guns Yugoslavian skillet put together.
It's like a pop song. Like it's written like a pop song or a country song, but it has heavy distorted guitars, but most of the time clean vocals.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. You know A Day to Remember.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
for
we
sure.
covered some of their songs.
What does that mean?
We did some of them at our shows.
Oh. I thought you meant like we helped them. Or like,
That would have been dope.
that
I
would-
love that band.
Yeah. Dakota,
Yeah.
today's subject.
Today's subject. A
What?
Day to Remember. Pop punk music.
So we've intentionally not prepared.
That's true.
Like it was on purpose.
We're going to see how this goes.
That doesn't mean check out right now. But we kind of have an idea where this conversation could go.
Oh, definitely.
But we thought it would be a fun idea to not have such a set structure in what we're going to talk about.
Not have an agenda.
Yeah. This is more Dakota coming through on the podcast today.
Oh, yeah.
This is where you're supposed to
This is
thrive.
where I'm supposed to thrive. Now, that is a good quote.
That's a great quote.
You know, we were talking about favorite quotes from the podcast. But whenever you try to, like, think of something like that, your brain immediately is, like, totally lost that folder. Sorry. But what was that? What was that one?
Day in, day night.
That one is going to be hard
That's
to forget.
like one of my favorites. Day in, day night. And when you were like, this is where I'm supposed to thrive, that was us making the promo video for our first episode. Because we were just improvising that
That was so funny, though, because I looked I looked utterly disappointed.
You were
like,
so upset.
I can't believe myself.
Where I'm supposed to thrive. So here's going to be the question that will arc our conversation and direct our conversation maybe a minute or the entire time. I don't know. But Dakota, what is a cross choke?
All right, I'm going to tell you what a cross choke is. Ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, a cross choke is when a pelican swoops down from the sky. No, I'm just kidding.
That was amazing. You could have kept going. What happens after he swoops down?
Man, he swoops down, but these trappers in Australia, pelican beaks are super rare there, so they put like a big net, but the net, they have to use a cross as the beams to catch it, and then what it does is it gets wrapped up and kind of chokes out. Boom, trappers got a great business going on. Cross choke.
So what does the pelican represent?
Oh, we're going deep now. The pelican represents our hopes and dreams.
Who's the trapper?
The trapper is the accuser.
What's the net?
The net is the internet.
All right, so the accuser uses the internet to crush and choke your hopes and dreams.
That's right.
All right, thanks for joining us on this week of Cross Choke.
That was the dumbest thing I ever came up with in my
I
life.
thought that was pretty good, bro. For improv. There's one that Alex actually had us do. You know, it's like, it's kind of popular, I think, but it's like, hey, picture a cube. You know, how big is a cube? I don't exactly remember, but it was like, okay, picture a cube in your mind. Is it transparent? Is it not? Is it rough? You know, that kind of thing. Picture it in a field. Picture it with weather. What kind of weather? Like all this thing. And then like he goes back through and says, okay, the block is like your potential, you know, or your character. Is it transparent? Is it not? Is it rough? You know, that kind of thing. And
What was yours?
I don't remember.
Interesting.
And then like he asks you to picture a flower. Like I don't quite remember. I'll have to ask him.
That'd be really fun, because as soon as you said block, I imagined like a 9-foot block, transparent like glass.
I think it was like your ego. No, I'm just kidding.
My ego's huge, but transparent, baby, like
But
Donald Trump.
You know everything about me. Yeah. But see, like, I mean, instantly, like, where does your mind go with that?
Interesting.
But it's like kind of like one of those things that describes you without you thinking about it. Yeah, I don't know. Whatever the heck you call that. Subconscious reading.
You know what I call that? I was literally asking you because
Oh.
I don't know.
So many cliffhangers in this episode already. I'm like, what does that mean? Okay, I gotta make a comment. How bright is that sky behind you?
I think it's finally spring.
Dude, if
peeking
I
out.
didn't know any better, I'd say it's like 1:30 out there.
If I didn't know any better, I'd say it's like 70 degrees out there.
It was like 19 this morning. How about the wind yesterday, bro?
Dude, we've had some crazy storms actually this past week.
So I have this chimney. Okay, not a real one, but okay, it used to be one, but when it was like converted.
Now it's just like venting.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. But it's slowly been like caving in on one side.
Oh.
And so I was in the kitchen, and all of a sudden there's a big tree outside, right? And I'm just waiting for the day when that tree just goes for it, right? So, but I hear this like rumble on the roof, and everything's falling on the ground, and I was like, I bet it was the chimney. So I went outside when it was super windy, and there's like 9 bricks in my sister. So my sister lives next door.
Right.
And so there's like 9 bricks on the ground just crushed. And she has this little Cocker Spaniel. And her name's Lily. And so she was over there just like, what the heck happened? She's like sniffing the bricks. Like, where did these come from?
The sky is falling.
So, but only like, if you were to look at the chimney, it was like a perfect circle fell out of it, like in the middle. Only on one side.
So it looks like you're getting up on the roof this week, huh?
Yeah, that's what I do. I'm a roofer. A mason.
A roofer.
Masonry? A masonry. No, that sounds like I'm hired to kill somebody.
No, I think you're right.
A hired hand? Masonry?
You know, we took out quite a few chimneys when I was...
Oh, yeah, you were the construction business.
I was going to say when I was working for Santa Claus. I was a really bad driver.
You took him out.
Took out one too many chimneys, man.
So, Dakota, here's a question for you.
Yeah.
Talking about cross-choke, we could kind of talk about... So here's how I figured we could kind of talk about this.
Sure.
Is cross-choke is us. We are TFL. Nice drink, bro.
Oh, I just spilled coffee all over myself.
I don't even think it's coffee. That's just straight espresso.
I just spilled espresso with a lot of sugar all over myself.
What is TFL? You know, we've talked about us quite a bit. And if you don't know about us, go back to Host Interviews Part 1, Part 2. Part 2 is still like one of our most listened to episodes.
I listen to it every day.
Maybe that's why.
No, I'm just kidding.
So, but TFL Ministries, okay, we haven't really talked about TFL.
Sure.
You know what I mean? The Fight Life. Kind of talked about it in Host Interviews, like where did TFL come from? Mm-hmm. But what is TFL? What is the vision of it? Why does it exist as a ministry? What is its purpose? That kind of idea. So I wanted to kind of maybe talk about that, or we could kind of ask questions about TFL a little bit, and where would we play in to the middle of it? I just burped. Morning burp. Is it like one of those like frog throat burps?
Your burp is saying good morning, y'all.
Hey, morning, y'all.
First, can you describe to me a literal cross choke?
Okay, yeah.
In jiu-jitsu?
Cross choke, lapel. Okay, so you have your lapels. I'm using my hands here, going around my neck, and then it makes a little cross in the front, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what your objective is in a cross choke in BJJ is you feed both hands up like to their ears, and you're grabbing the lapels. So you're crossing your arms, and you're grabbing each side. Okay, then from there, it's kind of a funny technique with your wrists. People have a hard time with it because all I'm trying to do is make the space around your neck smaller. Like that's a principle of a choke, which is self-explanatory, but you kind of forget that sometimes in the middle of technique. So all I'm trying to do is bring you closer, choke you with my wrists and your lapel that's around the back of your neck. That's in a nutshell kind of what a cross choke is.
Here's a follow-up question. Can you do a cross choke on someone no gi? And if so, do you have to grab them by the ears?
I'm sure there's a way. Actually, no.
You're just like, do you just grab onto nothing? You're just like folding your hands in like a bird.
So Dakota's doing that thing where you
make a butterfly.
Make a butterfly,
and then pull in your wrists.
I'm sure you could figure it out. You could actually, we were talking about this. You could actually do, for those of you that know what a baseball choke is, one of my favorite chokes.
I know what the sport baseball is.
Yeah. There's a baseball choke I like to hit it from knee on belly, but you could actually do that one no-gi, as well with kind of this funny, you grab like your pinky and your ring finger with your thumb and index finger of your other hand.
Whoa.
And it gives you this like mobility of your wrist. Like try it. Like, so if you just grab your hand, you don't have as much, but now slide it in and grab thumb with your with your ring finger and your pinky. Now, no, not your elbows, not your elbows.
I feel like I'm playing baseball.
But with your wrist. Yeah. See that? Yeah. So it just gives you mobility there. So like not a lot of gi chokes translate well to no gi, except for, you know, like your rear naked chokes, hence the name.
Sure.
Or like guillotines, stuff like that. Triangle chokes, whatever.
For some reason, I thought guillotine was. Oh no, guillotine is not a cross choke. What's the crucifix? Is another word for cross choke.
No.
No. I thought those
No,
were the
crucifix is a
same.
position. There's a crucifix choke.
Oh, that's what I'm thinking of.
Crucifix is like when you literally make the person have their arms extended on both sides because you're
Oh.
trapping one with your legs and you're trapping the other one with like your arm and your head, kind of thing.
How hard is it to wheel out the guillotine in the middle of a match?
You know, we actually have an executioner for that. He lives in the closet, and he's just in there constantly sharpening his blade. So whenever we go over guillotines, we usually only have one volunteer to demonstrate.
One a year or one a week?
I mean, it depends on how much we want to learn.
It's got to be bad on
You know, if you want to be a good
business, man.
student, you just gotta sign the waiver. Just come on in.
So that's what a cross choke literally is.
Yes.
I think we could get really spiritual on that.
Sacrilegious.
Like on your spiritual journey, you want to grip onto Christ as much as you can and pull him into you.
That's right. Until he submits to your will.
That got sacrilegious real fast.
So, the reason we named cross choke is we are talking a lot about martial arts, and as I look back, we haven't talked that much about martial arts at all.
I mean, okay, so the premise is fighters. That was like our heart since the beginning. But obviously, we wanted this podcast to be open to any and everybody. So, like, just us being goofy and talking about like topics that are relatable and whatever, I think is a way for fighters to, because not all fighters are the same.
No.
Either. But and just talking about different random subjects is a way for them to connect and.
Which comes into what is the fight life,
Yeah.
because it's not just for fighters.
Yeah, I mean, I've been there, and
You know, it's not just for competitors. It's
I'm
not
the
just for
farthest
martial.
thing from a fighter.
It's
on the
very
face of
true.
Earth.
I can't wait till you come back to jiu-jitsu someday.
I just wait until baby Nora's.
I didn't know her name was Eleanor.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because when like how at church we have those like little sticky name
Oh, yeah,
tags.
yeah.
And I saw that on her back. I'm like, Eleanor. I'm like, and then I have to like look at her face. I'm like, are you Nora?
Well, it's hard because she grows up every week. She's
Yeah.
a new person.
She's a little charmer.
Dude, she flirts with everybody.
Dude, like when we went to lunch the other day, she had that waitress wrapped around her finger, man.
I'm buying a shotgun this year, man.
Yeah, I would. I'd buy two. I'll get one with you. Back off. Just
You want Uncle Zach to come over?
so, but the fight life is not just for fighters, because where the name was drawn from, before I even knew it, but then it made sense later, because it was one of those things where I just was obedient to God, because I get great ministry ideas in the shower.
We all do.
Like okay, there's a person, and I think I've said this before. I don't know now. I'm going to say that a lot. Okay, if I've said this before, just whatever. But everybody has an idea in the shower. It's a person that gets out and writes it down that does something about it, right?
Shower thoughts.
Shower thoughts, or those thoughts right before you go to bed. Those are like, that's when you change the world, man. Like, so I got the Fight Life name back years ago when I was in the shower. And that's kind of when I pray, just clear my mind, you know? And that's when I was just dawned on me. But also the core values of what TFL is came in the shower.
There you go.
So the verse in 1 Timothy 6:12 that says, "Fight the good fight for the true faith."
Mm-hmm.
We're all called to do that. We're
Yeah.
all called to fight the good fight for the true faith.
Yep.
Like, no matter who you are always fighting for something.
Yep.
You know, whether it's positive or negative.
Yeah.
But at the core root of the human soul are a lot of common denominators that we look for in life.
Yeah.
And that we're willing to fight for. You know, whether it be acceptance or purpose or value or, I mean, just fill in the blank, those things that, of course, everybody wants that.
Yeah.
You know, meaning. So you fight for that in different ways. And you could fight for other things too, like your marriage. You know, you can fight for, I don't know,
Equality.
popularity. Whatever. Yeah. I mean, a political agenda, whatever. Like, we all have this inner fight, this inner drive.
I think it's a natural instinct. Like, we're all born with, like, fight or flight, you know?
Yeah.
And I think the Fight Life really helps us understand a healthy way to do that. Not just fight for something just to do it, but, like, give us purpose and focus in on, like, the values behind fighting.
Which, of course, matches well with fighters. You know, and so
Yeah,
that's
instinctively.
so that's kind of where the direction and demographic and the field in which TFL exists for. But of course, it's way more beyond that. And so that's where like this podcast comes in. That's where other avenues of ministry within TFL come in, like our small group ministry. But of course, we have a chaplaincy ministry, which is in development. Have kind of tooled that out a little bit to where we have a chaplain at fight events representing TFL. But it's not just, hey, I'm with TFL, but it's a person there ministering to fighters.
Yep.
To serve, really. I mean, just to
Yeah.
serve the fight promoter, to love people. And a chaplain's ministry, and I learned this when I was, applying for endorsement as a chaplain, is a lot of a chaplain's ministry is presence. They call it a ministry of presence, just being there. You know, like the guy that interviewed me was talking about how he was a chaplain for a prison, and he would go there every Wednesday, and it was like one of those prisons that has like 5 floors or something, and so he would go to each floor and say, "Chaplain here, if anybody wants to come talk." You know, and rarely would anybody come talk.
Yeah.
And so he made it a habit for like a long time to go like every Wednesday. And then, you know, other things came up, and so it started to get lower on, you know, the priorities. And so a couple weeks went by, and he got a phone call from the prison saying, "Hey, these guys really miss seeing you and would like to to have you come back." And specifically, it's like some guy on the 3rd floor. And so he went, you know, did the thing. 1st floor, nobody. 2nd floor, nobody. Went to 3rd floor, nobody was coming. And I don't remember how it happened, but one guy came out and goes, "Man, not that we want to talk to you, we just want to know you're here."
Oh, wow.
Kind of thing. And it kind of drove the point home of like just being there.
Being light in the darkness.
Just a ministry of presence, you know, just being able to stand in the corner.
That's awesome.
You know, in the hospital, you know, whether you're standing outside the warm-up room at a fight event, you know, just giving people comfort.
Just being there is so much more than people understand.
Right, which is well beyond a chaplain.
Yeah.
You know, just in ministry in general. And
Right.
being a person that just loves people.
What are some other examples of chaplains? Because when I think of chaplain, I think of like a guy who hangs out with like a professional basketball team all day. And
Yeah, there's so like they have like sports chaplains. They have military chaplains, which is a big deal as well. There is nursing home chaplains. I mean, what's cool about the chaplaincy program within the Assemblies of God is it's meant to be ministry where you are.
Okay, it's kind of fluid that way.
Yeah, under the chaplaincy umbrella.
It's more like you're in a pastoral role for an organization. Is that kind of the thing?
Yeah, you can be hired by that organization as a chaplain if you have a specific endorsement which allows you to be hired as a chaplain.
Oh, wow.
Or you could be a volunteer chaplain, or you could have an endorsement which lets you raise support as well.
That's cool.
Yeah, so like there's all kinds of, they're really accommodating. I mean, just whatever you want to do with your ministry.
Okay, I want to be a chaplain for Google Incorporated.
Dude, There's the rodeo chaplains too. That's another big one.
Rodeo? Oh, I bet that's like a necessity.
Right?
We need a chaplain. This guy's gonna die.
Help me get this horn out of his chest. In short, altogether, the TFL exists to answer the call of fighting the good fight for the true faith. And so a lot of our small group ministries, things like that, where it's a lot more discipleship, the discipleship sphere of TFL really kind of breaks down this idea of knowing what our faith is and acting on it. I mean, that's all ministry should be that in a certain sphere, but that's really kind of, I think, where TFL finds its niche, is this idea of making disciples who make disciples.
You mean to know Jesus and make him known?
Right? That's good.
What are your core values in TFL?
Surrender, focus, go.
Those are the three.
So, yeah, what defines a person who's living the fight life?
Okay.
And these were, again, an epiphany along with...
In the shower?
In the shower. But along with...
Do you need a notebook, in the shower or something?
A
little voice recorder?
It's actually just a whiteboard, one big whiteboard is the shower.
It just cleans your thoughts off after every shower.
Yeah, you just got to write quick. But surrender, focus, go is how we answer the fight life. You're called to live the fight life. I'm called to live the fight life. How do we do it? We do it through the three core values of surrender, focus, go. And so surrender is our first fight we face. In our relationship with God, we're always battling to have the reins, to have to be the person in charge.
Sure.
But that's what God asks us for. And only then do we begin to live the life that God has called us to live, is through surrender. And so that's kind of the first one. It implies a life of complete devotion, true act of worship. God, I give you my heart. I give you my thoughts. Everything is yours. So that's where it starts. So then from there, the focus part comes in. That's when the rubber meets the road of our faith, really. Okay, I'm going to continue to go to God, the sanctification process. He has my eyes. I need to grow in him. That idea of as the vine is to the branches, so we are to God kind of idea, to make fruit, that kind of idea. So surrender, we focus, and then we go, which has kind of a double side of it, like a two-sided coin with go.
Oh, cool.
Because go, go into the world, make disciples of all nations, and it's important that that's last. Because a lot of the times we put that first, and I realize everything's fluent, you know what I mean, with how the church works now, things like that. People get exposed to the church, become part of the church, then get saved is typically how it works now, right?
Yeah.
But we need to make sure that we don't give somebody a burden that they're not meant to bear yet. So it's important that we get well.
That's how you fail.
Yeah. So get saved, get well, get healthy, then go. And that's a safe way to go about discipleship. But within this idea of after all this, we're commissioned to go into the world. But also this idea of go has this idea of endurance, to keep going, keep fighting the good fight for the true faith. It's not just a one-time thing. It's a constant thing. And so in order to have success in the fight, you need to train yourself in spiritual disciplines of surrendering, focusing, and going.
That's good. Yeah, those are sweet values because you can really apply that to specifically when you're training and fighting too.
Yeah, that's
I need to master these three things to do well in this fight.
Yeah, you need to surrender to your instructor. You need to focus constantly, and you need to keep going.
I think a lot of that has to do with having the mind of Christ too.
How so?
Well, first, in fighting, you need to be mentally in that state of fighting. You can't just let anything affect you. When we were at those fights with Anthony, I always revert back to that because those are the first fights I went to.
That was so cool.
That was really cool. But we were all really cautious. Don't bring up something that's gonna upset.
Oh, right.
Not that he was gonna pop off, but just let's make sure he has the absolute best environment so that he can do well in this fight. And so I think a big part of that is is his responsibility as the fighter to say, I'm in the zone, I'm focusing on this. And then also just like in everyday life, like we need to take every thought captive and just focus on like the important things in life and like disengage our mind with things that have no like real value. Like when
That's
a little
true.
thing pops up, just say like, no, I don't need to be focusing on that right now.
Yeah. That takes a lot of discipline,
It does.
you know, and not to be a butterfly chaser.
Oh yeah. Every little thing, run after it.
Yeah.
SpongeBob style.
Right. That's so funny. I pictured what you were. I think you and I had the same exact image in our head right when you said SpongeBob style. So that's kind of just a minor overview of what TFL is in terms of its core values, and then each one of those core values can kind of break into pillars as well.
Okay.
There's
sub points on
Yeah.
each value.
What defines our surrender, what defines our focus, and what defines the going.
Okay. So
idea.
what are those pillars?
So without going too in depth, we could go pretty hardcore here. But
Sure.
within surrender, the pillar that makes that one up is abide, character, and the Holy Spirit. Those are your keys to success with living a surrendered life. Abiding, of course, being connected to God constantly, always growing in Him. The character of who you are, continually letting that be transformed. And of course, the Holy Spirit is the key to everything, right? But that kind of defines our surrender. Then the focus, accountability, again, that is super, super important in your walk with God. Way more important, because I neglected that for a long time in my life, is because I didn't think I needed it. You know, and how ignorant is that, right?
That's pride.
Yeah. Well, and what was funny is I didn't quite know it until like I knew it. You know what I mean? So, accountability is one of the biggest success givers into your life. Discipleship, and then rhythm of life. And rhythm of life I have in there because you need time to not do anything.
Yeah.
You need time to go take your kid sledding.
We talk about that a lot.
You know, it's okay.
Taking rest is just as important as like going out and doing ministry. Like you need rest before you go out and do stuff.
Yeah, you can't burn the candle at both ends. And sometimes I think as Christians we feel bad for taking a rest. Like, I need to be doing something, you know. And in that book we talked about last episode, The Imperfect Pastor. And I posted this on my Instagram yesterday too, was doing something else somewhere else is kind of an unsaid motto of our Christian faith. Like what we're doing now isn't quite enough. I want to do big things for God, you know, rather than make the most of where I'm at right now. You know, I want to go all out for ministry. Okay, well, what if the ministry that God wants you to go all out for is where you're at now?
Yeah.
You know, but we kind of have this unsettled nature of like, I need to do more on big things. And man, it's just listen to God and do what you're like, do well what you're doing.
Yeah.
And that may be God's will for your life rather than, you know, this big dramatic thing, although that might be it too. But no calling is greater than another. Nope. You know, the guy spreading the gospel in India has a no greater call than the guy in North Dakota called to the farmers. You know what I mean? And then that farmer's soul is no greater than the person in India who doesn't know Jesus either. You know, both are important. But within that whole idea is this idea of don't be too hard on yourself with rest. It's so important. You know, manage your time. It's okay to be passionate about non-spiritual things too. You know, like if you're into cars, like, I mean, that's okay. Like, you know, it doesn't have to be like, oh, I need to be reading my Bible right now again, you know, or like all day. Like, of course that's good. It won't hurt. Yeah. But maybe it could, you know, if you're neglecting just your rhythm of life things and, you know, just normal stuff. Yeah. It's okay. So that's one of the parts of focus. It helps us focus. That's good. In the long run. Again, this idea which goes right into endurance and going. If you're going to be in this for the long haul, you need to have a good rhythm of life. And there's seasons where rhythm of life is just horrible.
Is rhythm of life a pillar of go too, or?
I think it's under focus, because
But it's kind of
I mean,
transitions.
again, any at any time, any of these could find themselves under any pillar, right? It's not like it has to be under there, but and then under go, of course, I have endurance, pioneering, because that's part of, I think, what TFL is specifically is it's a pioneering ministry. There's not a lot of ministries like it, so to speak, because I mean, there's people out there reaching competitors and fighters for Jesus, but in a lot of ways, it's plowing new ground. And we have to be able to do that well wherever you are in ministry.
It's true.
I think we've grown into the copy paste
Yep.
too much in the church.
No doubt.
You know, of course, there's as soon as we see a church being successful, we want to duplicate what they're doing.
Yep.
It's like we have to embrace the struggle of finding what works.
Yeah.
You know, and of course we could take ideas and just like
Sure.
Alex said, he goes cheat and steal and
Yeah.
fail.
Yeah.
You know, there's a
But I think the
healthy
failing
level, but-
part is the biggest key.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you need to take risks in your own ministry
Mm-hmm.
and not just play it safe. Don't just do what other people are doing. Actually take risks and
Yeah.
think outside the box.
Yeah, and I think the fear of failure in that context makes us not want to fail in ministry because we want to just duplicate what somebody else is doing. Like, we just want to go right to a successful ministry rather than have the failure and caring what our ministry people think.
Yeah.
You know, your congregation or your group of people that you're ministering to, let them see you fail.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. You know, how you react is going to be a testament to your character, which comes back to, are you surrendered to God?
Yeah. I think having the fear of failure is really opposing to that third core value of go, too. Like, if you let that encompass you and stop you, I mean, there it is right there. It's going to stop you from going.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Now, under the third one, go is, endurance, pioneering, and then apostolic function, Dakota.
Oh, wow.
There's really no other way to say that. I thought a lot about it, but, you know, in understanding the truth that God wants everyone to have the opportunity to know him, we must be apostolic-like.
Oh,
in our
yeah,
ministry.
like an apostle.
So we've had this discussion before that there was some guy on Facebook and his Facebook page was Apostle Jim.
Or whatever his name
Yeah,
is.
whatever. Apostle David, or I don't know what he called
Apostle
him.
Dakota.
Yeah.
Actually, it's Apostle Dakota N. Abby.
Oh, nice, man.
That's going to really tick you off.
There's no modern day apostles. Okay.
Then how does Facebook say that?
The apostle name is exclusive to those who are with Jesus.
So if my name is Matthew, I can be an apostle.
Well, maybe if your name was Saul, now it's Paul. I mean, maybe we could make the argument. But we are not modern day apostles, but we can function like them. You know, in this idea that we are passionate about glorifying God through the lost being found.
Right.
That's the name of the game. You know, without apostolic ministry, the gospel does not break new ground. So we have to have that, man, I'm going to be the tip of the spear going into the lost, going forward. And apostolic ministry is doing the pioneer work of taking the gospel to unreached people.
So is that the definition of that apostolic pillar? It means you're going to walk like Christ.
Yeah.
But how do you? But it's taking it one step further in the way that you're going to places where other people haven't gone before. Is that kind of it?
That's exactly it.
Okay.
It's like I'm going to bring the gospel to where it isn't.
Okay.
You know, and like I forget the verse where Paul's like, I'd rather start fresh than build on somebody else's church. Or,
Man, and that goes back to what we were just talking about too. Like, don't just copy what someone else is doing.
Right. It's this originality, this authenticity. You know, of course, we all take the same gospel, but do it in the way in which God has gifted you to do so. Answer that, because that's where true value is. That's where true joy is found, is when you are doing what you're meant to do, not what somebody else is doing. There you go.
That's good.
QVCA, bro. So under our podcast meeting way back when, we were talking about cross choke and what is our goal for cross choke and some of the guidelines, you know.
Yeah.
And one of them was QVCA.
Yep.
Do you remember what those are?
Yeah. I remember most of them.
Okay.
Quality, value, consistency, and
Authenticity.
I was gonna say it. No, I'm just kidding. I
No,
was struggling.
But yeah, that comes back to this idea of apostolic ministry, apostolic function.
We should have some cross choke core values. I mean, those could be our core
Yeah, yeah.
values.
What I
And
mean,
we could make some pillars.
dude, we could like make a coliseum. A coliseum. All it's full of is our quotes.
Whoops. Just almost tore down all the pillars.
Oh, right there. So that's kind of a rough draft of the backbone of TFL, and then the ministries in which TFL is involved in is kind of changing all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But we want to bring this to the core of what TFL is. If you're within TFL or representing TFL or hearing what we're saying, it all should come back to this funnel of surrender, focus, go, answer the fight, for the true faith, do that through the pillars. And then the ministries, once we go forward, come into this idea of a 5-fold method, bro. So here we're gonna just keep going.
I like it.
A 5-fold method in which we move forward to surrender, to focus, to go, to answer the call, that kind of thing.
These are like the steps to do that successfully.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep. So it's like, okay, now we have this belief system, this structure. Now what? So we go forward with a 5-fold vision, 5-fold method of proclaim, invest, plant, resource, and prayer.
I wish they were all P words. That would have been really catchy.
Proclaim, invest, plant, resource, pray. That sounds like I really have bad speech impediment.
That was really awesome. I was not expecting that. Invest.
Invest. Pre-source. You could probably get away with pre-source as you're resourcing them prior.
Oh, that's the funniest thing I've heard this morning.
All right. Day in, day night.
So those are the steps that I need to take.
Yeah, it's like where the pillars and the core values come together in outward action.
Those are that's taking action on all that.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, it's to flesh out our inward belief. And yeah, so I mean they're kind of self-explanatory. We could go in depth on them, but yeah, proclaim, invest, plant, resource, and prayer. Then Dakota, here's the why.
Okay.
Here kind of goes full circle. It's all for the glory of God. Mm-hmm. That's the goal of anything, of your life, of my life.
If your ministry isn't focused on that, you're doing something wrong.
Yeah. And especially because a lot of ministries they lose that focus of God's glory, which sounds bad, which it is, but you don't realize it's happening because you start to be so focused on programs rather than people.
Yeah.
It's all about
results.
People. Or results or numbers or how's our Facebook engagement, things like that. So God's glory is number one. The motive is God's love. Mm-hmm. The vision is people. And the strategy is in teams.
Wow.
So that's kind of the freshed out. What am I looking for? Preshed out. Preshed.
So that was the why. Can you give me some examples of how?
Yes.
Tell me what TFL is doing on a weekly or monthly or yearly basis. That's making ministry happen.
All of it happens in the Crossroad podcast. So the Crossroad podcast is, of course, answering this in a lot of ways with the apostolic function. Mm-hmm. We're going where we aren't, because we need to embrace the fact that we are locally limited in ministry. Mm-hmm. You and I are in Butte. Specifically, today you're at work. I'm heading to work. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's our place of ministry.
Yeah.
Now, the digital side of ministry, you cannot rely on too much, but it has a very big function in our culture today.
Yeah, it has the potential to be great.
Yes, exactly. And so that's kind of part of answering this call is this idea of us reaching people digitally. And, of course, fighters, whoever else is out there that wants to listen to our podcast, whoever is silly enough to care about us.
So under that umbrella, we have cross choke.
Yep.
And what else is under that umbrella?
Imperial BJJ
okay.
is part of that. That's a real local ministry. TFL really involved in the business we created.
Yeah.
But again, not to where it's over the top, because it is a secular gym
Yep.
in our culture, and I don't want it to be a church gym.
Yeah.
But TFL has a great presence there, reaching people that come there. Also, so talking about our local sphere, and then a small group here as well.
Okay.
So we have our TFL small group, which goes on semester base. The next semester's roughly about to start in the next couple of weeks at the end of March, I believe.
Okay.
So that'll be about a 6-week small group Bible study under the name of TFL. Anybody's welcome to come to it. We'll have more info on it later. Then, as we go into the next sphere, is the AIM trips. So the TFL AIM is another ministry under TFL, which is Agape International Ministries, which is to take the love of God beyond where we are.
I like it.
So with that, on our TFL AIM trips, is we go to Plains, Montana a lot of the time. That's kind of where our relationship with Plains has come in, because we
What
help.
if I don't know how to fly a plane? Can I still go?
It's a big plane ministry. We help people travel.
Stewardess Zach at your service.
Yep. Get Alex up there. Put your gloves on. So we under that sphere of ministry, because what I want, it's the difference between where we are and where we could be.
Okay.
And the whole reason behind all of this, talking about the structure, memo of understanding, how we do ministry, is a structure for growth. And that was kind of how I am always trying to refine it to grow to where I want it to be, because that's the difference between where it is. So, but these AIM trips, we've gone to Plains. I've tried to go to a couple other places, but it never quite worked out. Helping out with like human trafficking with some of the guys that do that. See if we could be a help with whatever that looks like, because I want to partner with ministries that are doing something that I believe in too. Of course I believe in a lot of things, but and there's a lot of good things, but it's like, okay, where can my resources best be spent? And then with Provision International, I've set up some things there as well, and then might have some other ideas with India as well that we've talked about this year, actually.
That's awesome.
So that's one of the spheres of ministry and how we answer this idea of fighting the good fight. And then we've also done outreaches with different local churches or churches abroad. We've even gone to Idaho a couple times.
Oh, nice.
And set up like a cage, and we like fight each other and share the gospel. So that's been pretty cool. And
It's super cool. You did that at our youth group.
Right, yeah. So that's kind of been fun. Okay, and we've gotten better about making them kind of like a production.
Is that part of the AIM?
Yeah, I would say
it's not
under that
separate.
sphere, in that sphere, I'd say. I don't really remember where that is, but yeah, it's one of the avenues of ministry. And then along with that is the chaplaincy ministry that is just kind of starting in an official base, like as a chaplain, So that is where I would be on site at fight events, in a professional manner, like being a guy that's there as a chaplain, ready to help people and minister to people. So that's one of the other spheres. And then, of course, our website with our blog, things like that, that comes kind of back in the digital side of things. And then that's kind of where it is right now, as well as like some coaching and one-on-one ministry, things like that. But it really is more local than not right now. And so the goal, there's Chi Alpha Ministries, which is towards campuses.
Yeah.
So kind of if I was that's all over campuses. They're like clubs on universities. And they're under this umbrella, but they each function kind of independently at whatever campus they're at.
Right.
So what I would like TFL to be is like what Chi Alpha is to campuses, have TFL be to fight academies or martial arts academies.
Gyms.
It's like kind of this church planting movement amongst the unreached people of combat sports or martial arts.
That'd be awesome.
That's like the overarching ministerial vision, So with that would be this idea of developing other team leaders under this TFL umbrella who say, hey, man, I love Jesus. I love jiu-jitsu. I love Jesus. I love fighting. And let's make disciples together.
Come on.
Let's be part of this TFL team. So that is kind of the long-term dream. There's also like this dream of like having TFL have some sort of discipleship schooling program in which we could train people to be Christ ambassadors, whether that's here or abroad. You know, some kind of commissioning thing. That kind of idea. Of course, keep the podcast growing into more and more audiences.
I had a thought.
Yeah.
And we talked about this a little bit before, but chaplaincy and ministry to esports.
Oh, dude, right. Yeah. That would be sick too.
And I think that would fit under the TFL umbrella too.
Yeah.
Because you want to talk about fighting and
Right.
mental endurance.
Mm-hmm.
And this might sound funny to a lot of our listeners, but like esports is huge.
No, dude.
And
Esports
when we
is
say
like
esports,
really big.
we mean like gaming and like competitions.
Yeah, with like, you know, like these Fortnite competitions, Twitch streaming. I mean, gaming is a huge industry. It's an absolutely gigantic industry. And from what I understand, there's like not a lot of ministry
I haven't seen
happening
anybody.
with that kind of,
Yeah.
you know, demographic. And so, yeah, Dakota and I have mentioned before, it's like, dude, how cool would it be to have like in the esport realm,
Yeah.
TFL esports. So like,
Or go to like the Rainbow Convention in Las Vegas and like just be an avenue to minister to people.
dude, yeah, like a chaplain at those events. You know what I mean? Just something, like some form of ministry to gamers who like to fight in that idea of esports, competitive gaming. Like, so if you're out there and have ideas about that, let us know.
Shoot us because we're interested.
Yeah, like for real, like that'd be awesome. So yeah, I'm sure I'm missing some stuff, but that's kind of an overview.
That's cool.
Just to duplicate, go forward with the church, reach lost people. That's the end game. You know what I mean? Reach lost people.
And the cool thing is, it was like you're saying earlier, TFL isn't just for fighters. It's just based out of that. I mean, I feel like I play at least a small role in TFL.
You
through
play a
cross
large
choke
role.
And,
Yeah.
well, I feel like it's a small role, but but just being it's comes back to that like just being there, just the presence. Like I don't know a whole bunch about fighting or anything like that, but I can pray with some people.
Right.
I can be there for them and support them. I can babysit while a fighter has to go fight or be in the corner.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's ministry.
Yeah.
Loving people. And I don't like to, it's easy for me to get lost in structure and in vision and in like strategic planning. Like I love that, dude. Like I could just sit down and I know it's where we're very different. You know, but I love to know why. I love to know how. And you and I went to lunch the other day and just was kind of sharing like, man, life has been so busy this season. This rhythm of life has been less than ideal. And I've kind of gotten lost in a fog, I feel, in like the last month with just direction and vision. And I'm like, man, I hate that. So you'll be happy to know that over the last like 3 days, I've spent a lot of time like receiving clarity in that kind of idea. But anyways, I could get lost and obsessed with strategic planning. Yeah. And you're like, bro, life's good, bro.
Yeah,
let's just go with the flow.
Just like slow down.
Are you gonna finish your noodles?
That is pretty much how that lunch went. And baby Nora throwing countless food on the ground.
I can't believe you kept feeding her as much as you did.
Dude, she was hungry.
Yeah, you're just like...
You don't know how much she eats, man.
And she's like, "Rah," and then all of a sudden they're gone.
And like I said, one of those little melts is like a quarter of a calorie. So it's like, what am I really feeding? It's just like air.
Air in the form of styrofoam.
Pretty much.
Well, Dakota, that's a cross choke for you.
Yeah. That was good. I really think we should evaluate and make pillars for our listeners to focus on. But, for right now, I mean, just hopefully these attributes, core values, and pillars that we spoke about in ministries will help you continue the good fight, continue fighting the good fight, and whatever it looks like for you, whether it's just going to work and fighting the good fight, or being a stay-at-home mom and fighting the good fight, because that is a tough job.
Yeah.
But whatever it looks like for you, and maybe you feel called to start a ministry, and now you have some ways to do that without just copying a cookie cutter form, but make your own core values. What do you stand for and believe on? Definitely make giving glory to God number one priority.
Yes, start there. There you go. You could copy that one.
Yeah, for sure.
Walkout song of the week.
And his name is John C.
All right, so this podcast episode's walkout song is John Jones by Ryan Vedder and Eric Heron. I saw this on this playlist I follow on Spotify. If you're on Spotify and you like Christian hip-hop, follow CHH Caviar. They are updating it weekly with the newest hip-hop, and I came across a song called John Jones. Zach, tell our listeners who John Jones is.
John Jones is the worst fighter in UFC history.
Then why does everyone know his name?
Oh, yeah, John Jones. If you don't know who John Jones is, you're living under a rock.
I mean,
But-
so, like, I know his name, but I don't know, like, who he is, essentially.
Yeah, he's just an absolute gifted fighter.
He's a unit.
He's an absolute unit. But he just basically makes everyone that he fights look like a little child. I think he lost his last fight, technically.
Oh,
A lot of
really?
people do. It went to decision. It was, I mean, anytime it goes to decision, and if you're fighting the guy who holds the belt, the odds are
He
against you
wins.
anyways. Because you gotta, in my opinion, if you gotta take that belt,
Sure.
you have to make an absolute unanimous
That makes
decision
sense.
if you're in there. Otherwise, you're gonna lose the decision to the guy that holds the belt every time. So people don't get too upset about it because he didn't take it,
Sure.
But John Jones has had a past of kind of being up and down with his character as well, because he
Oh, yeah.
got busted for drugs and then steroids and then like did a hit and run on some lady and
Oh.
yeah, it was kind of bad.
So a great guy to have a Christian hip-hop song.
But
to.
his dad is like a pastor and he has Philippians 4:13 tattooed on his chest.
As all men should.
As all men should. I could do all things through a verse taken out of context. But anyway, so there's like some spiritual background, but I don't like it because it almost doesn't help.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because if you want to put on this facade of a Christian,
Yeah.
but you're not living that life,
Yeah.
just stop. You're not helping anything.
Yeah.
So
But you know what does help? This song, John Jones. This song will get
You
you,
love
in
this
the right.
song.
It's so awesome.
yeah, you
know,
really like this song.
There's some sick bells in there. I'm a sucker for bells. Not like that, but like ding ding, like
Yeah,
in a
yeah, yeah.
fight. And I love
It's a
putting
fight.
those in our songs.
Mm-hmm.
And so like this song would be a sick walkout song. It would definitely represent you in Christ well. So
Mm-hmm.
if you want to use this for your fight song, go right ahead.
And here's a little listen.
That's what's going on around the country. Here's what's happening in your neck of the woods.
All right, Dave Camarillo seminars. I'm actually really happy that we have a little neck of the woods segment with legit neck of the woods stuff. Dave Camarillo is a prodigy of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Amazing judo practitioner, does a great job with bringing judo and jiu-jitsu together. If I recall correctly, he was at AKA, American Kickboxing Academy, or still is, or something like that. I don't quite recall that, but all around a great competitor, amazing practitioner, and pioneering person for the sport. But anyhow, so here's just a little lineage for you. Is Dave Camarillo, I believe, got his black belt under Half Gracie, I think. I don't quite know that stuff. But my instructor, Mike Imperial, got his black belt under this guy named Mike Prudencio, which is down in Santa Cruz at One World. Now, Mike Prudencio got his black belt under this guy, Dave Camarillo.
Oh, cool.
So it's like a direct lineage right to us.
Have you been to this guy's seminars before?
No.
Oh, so this
No,
is
I've never
like
been.
huge.
Yeah,
then
this is
for
pretty
you guys.
exciting. And we're quite jealous, really, because we wanted to be the first ones to bring him to Montana. But Billings and Helena both are bringing him.
That's awesome.
So it's pretty cool. So originally it was going to be in Billings, March 13th, from 6 to 9 at Grindhouse. So
Is
we
that
were.
St. Patrick's Day?
No, I think St. Patrick's Day is like on a Tuesday.
Oh, okay.
That's a Friday. When is St. Patrick's Day? Let me pull up the old calendar. No, March 17th is St. Patrick's Day.
Oh, okay.
But anyhow, March 13th, if you're over there in the Billings area, Grindhouse is hosting a seminar with Dave, 6 to 9. Just enter Grindhouse on Facebook and you can get the information. But then we found out that the Helena BJJ guys are bringing him to Helena on Saturday the next day.
Oh, cool.
So we were like, oh, scratch that. We'll just go to Helena. So I kind of felt bad.
I kind of thought you were going to go to both.
That'd be cool. But nah.
That'd be a lot, too.
That would. Because I'd have to miss 2 shifts also. But I kind of feel bad for the Grindhouse guys because I feel like this kind of took the wind out of their attendance.
They were expecting you.
Yeah. But Billings is just so far away.
And I think you could have a lot more people from your gym come to the Helena one since it's so close.
Yeah,
too.
we have a lot more people are going to come. And we could actually push it better. You know,
That's
like
cool.
going to Billings, we'd have to stay overnight because it doesn't get over till 9.
I hate the drive to Billings, man.
Yeah, especially once you just get past Bozeman. I mean, it's just a waste of Montana.
I'm sorry,
just
Eastern
kidding.
Montana, but I think we should split the state into 2 halves, honestly.
It already is.
Our state is too big.
Yeah, it's a huge state, man. Helena seminar March 14th, noon to 3 at Capitol High School. Helena BJJ is hosting the event, so if you would like to get in on that, or there are early registration fees for both of these seminars, but you can come the day of. It's just going to be a little bit more expensive. So there's your neck of the woods.
The sword of the Spirit, which is the Word of God, Jesus Christ.
All right, verse of this episode is 1 Thessalonians. I love saying this. 1 Thessalonians, born and raised in the Bibles, where I spend most of my days.
Whoa.
You like that?
Where did that come from?
I made that up like a couple years ago.
Oh, dude, that was just nice.
Yeah.
I was trying to find a beat to start with, like.
That's the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
I've never seen an episode of that.
What?
I've only caught parts of it.
Okay, last night we were gaming and we said, rest in peace, Uncle Phil.
No
that's
idea
from-
what that meant.
What?
There's a lot of times I don't know what you mean. And I just kind of like,
You play it so well.
I'm like, all right, yeah.
Anyways, man, that went off topic quick.
All right, let's reel it back in here, huh?
Yeah.
Come on, got me a Marlin. Yeah.
All right. 1 Thessalonians 5:16 through 18. Always be joyful. Never stop praying. Be thankful in all circumstances, for it is God's will for you who belong to Christ Jesus.
Thanks for reading over my typo there.
For is God's.
Book of the week.
When you look into it,
You gotta look into it.
look into it.
I've been
When you look
looking
into it,
If by Mark Batterson. It's a great book. Highly recommend it. It's easy to read. Mark Batterson's a great author. This book's been out for a while, pretty popular in the Christian realm of books. But it goes through this idea of if only regrets for as if possibilities and what if this is true, kind of idea. Like, if only I would have done this in my life. Okay, well, let's live as if I'm forgiven. What if I am forgiven? Kind of follows that format a little bit. And then kind of another part of the book is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like, you are forgiven, you are saved, life is good. But in his book, he basically goes through the whole chapter of Romans 8. And speaking of TFL, small group, is we went through this book as part of one of our small groups one time. So, Mark Batterson, good book.
I love it.
Dakota, it's been a pleasure making this episode with you.
Oh, I love recording this podcast, Zach. It's great. This one was pretty fun.
Yeah.
Having kind of no real agenda.
Right.
And please let us know what you thought about this episode. If you hated it, even if you didn't like it, please let us know so we can make better content for you guys.
Oh, and be sure to let us know also about if we post every week, half an episode.
Yes.
Or once every 2 weeks. We'd really appreciate your feedback.
Please do.
Other than that, we'll catch you next time.
Next time.
Thank you so much for listening to Season 2 of Crosschoke. It was a blast creating this episode, and we hope you enjoyed listening. Submit any fun questions, inquisitive comments, serious requests, or hilarious stories to tflministries.com/podcast. Feel free to follow Zach at Ando Butte and myself at South for a Day. Have an amazing day and join us next time on Crosschoke.
So anyhows.
You want me to whisper it?
Crosschoke. That was just kind of creepy.